glasses. I might go get my glasses. What? Okay, is record. That's why. You guys aren't going to hear any sound for a second, but that is because I'm going to record. Excuse me. I need to turn that down really low. Okay, I'll be bringing it back now. Give me just 1 second. How's it going, Chimkin Sandwich? I think that's a good phrase right there. Is this unwarped or what? maybe leave that to the last one because we're kind of giving that space to the piano right there. Mixing guitars is rough. Sounds so cool so far. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I'm having a good time with it, that's for sure. It's 5 a.m. and can't sleep. Sorry, dude. I know that feeling. I knew that was a little early. I was like, what? Why does it feel off? Sounds amazing. Keep it up, man. Thanks, dude. See if I can create a space right there. Maybe just do like some wild shit. Like a super pan. Might as well watch some ITM action. Hey, when did your channel name change? About a month ago, just for discoverability options, because what happened was, and even now, which I thought that I made a smart change, but we'll see what happens. But if you type in Alckemy on YouTube, then it says, did you mean Alckemy with an H? And my channel name never comes up. So now with the extra tag Alckemy Neuro, my channel doesn't come up, but at least my video comes up. So, or one of my videos show up. So that's kind of what the idea behind that was. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna attempt to spread this out because it just sounds. I can't get it to sound the way that I want it to. Like I do like this sound, but we need some tools. Yeah, I always typed Alckemy Neuro before the name change because of YouTube. Yeah, so, and if I feel like people know me most for my neuro-based stuff, so I figured that's why I would try to, wait, what just happened? Tool, empty layer, tool, 8. They let you keep the subs with the name change, or are they all new? Yeah, you can change your name as much as you want without losing your subs, because it's still the same account. It's just a name change. Okay, so it was weird. I can't even tell the difference, to be honest, on this, but I mean, I can tell the difference of these two individually, but when it all plays together, I can't really tell. Let's try that. Yeah, change was good. I don't know if the current is a great choice. I've had trouble searching for your channel many times in the past. Yeah, I did realize that, and I did try to mitigate that, but if we go on youtube.com and you type in Alckemy Neuro, then I mean, that's not like, my channel might not come up, but at least that comes up, which is my most popular video, so I can't be mad at that. Actually, all of the most of the most important videos that are on, yeah, this is all me, so that's good. So YouTube is like, that helped. I definitely think that helped. What if we go to channel? Yeah, see, this is what that's my problem, is like, I really want YouTube to be like, hey, this is your fucking shit. Like, even now, even with this, did you mean Alckemy Neuro, right? My channel still doesn't pop up. It's still my videos, which is fine because I'm glad it's my videos, but what the fuck? So, yeah. That's my beef with tubers. Yeah, it's way better than before. Okay, well, that's good. I'm glad that it's better, because that's really what matters. But it's not that like I'm actually changing my name. It's just that there's a little tag on the end of it, so that way it is longer, but it is more specific. So that way, you know, discoverability is really the problem that I was running into. This is my favorite song I've heard you work on so far. It's mysterious sounding. Thanks. Fuck. PewDiePie Alchemy Neuro. I don't even think that would actually be helpful. The mix of this is fucking killing me. I might just... Ugh. Okay, that sounds better as far as space. Okay, 5:59 to 7:12. That's a couple of minutes of music. I'm not sure if I want to go into another section or just keep refining this, but one thing that I do want to do is I want to add another percussive section. So I'm just going to find some dry stuff. Just like some really... Where's my dry shit? All this stuff is convoluted. It needs some edge. Hey, if I want some help, I'll ask. Okay, I appreciate it though. But I know what I'm looking for. Maybe one or two more here in a sec. Hey, NX, what's up? I'm not going to use this right here, but I'm just using this as a reference. So my plan is to have one pattern that's kind of consistent throughout. This message sounds very listenable. Thanks. I do appreciate it. Yeah, that's kind of nice. Not cymatics. Well, we've got a lot of free shit, and the recordings are good. Oh my god, dude, trackpad, what are you doing? Trust me, there are definitely times when I'm like, hey, I don't know what to do, but today is not one of them. Okay, I actually like that a lot, but I want another transient right there. Preferably one that's not tonal. Preferably one that's not tonal. That seems okay. Okay, that's audio anyways, so I'll just take that one. And then what I can actually do is maybe condense this one here and take that one and see what that does. And use that as an ending. Okay. Okay, sweet. So now that we have that, let's go ahead and loop that. If I click next to a shelf, that means that I don't want a shelf. Why are you going to put two shelves? Dude, stop it. Quit it. Boy's going to town. I think weird Foley drums, donk percussion, Foley cleanish, Foley rack 3. Where's my garage Foley? Let me see what this is. Okay, I'll just make it from scratch. Fucking yikes, dude. Classic LFO. Who's Ire? I don't know who that is. This sounds so good. Thank you. Zenon Records? Doesn't ring a bell. I'm sorry. Been laying in your Uranus generator into my drum patterns and took them to another level. Oh, dope, man. I like that one a lot. I'm glad that you like that one too. Part of me wants to just go into like a bass focused thing after this, but I kind of think that this is just a nice little idea as well. This is part 2 technically because I was streaming earlier and my power went out for 4 hours. So we're on hour 4 of actual streaming. But I wasn't done working on this today. I was like, nope, I still got more to do. So welcome back. Maybe. Okay, so right there, I want... This might be loud. Okay. Jesus. I'm gonna watch your tut when it's done and make an IDM song. Okay, so you're here for the stream, so I'll just give you the abridged version, but here's what you do. And you know what, dude? I think, Hakubo, honestly, I think like with the way that you make music, if IDM isn't your thing, it very well could be, just because like someone just followed. As soon as your name pops up, I'll be sure to thank you. But you make really, thank you so much, Baba. I appreciate the follow, but this is what I started with. So from these stems, I pretty much made all of this, and then after that, like after I had all of the edits and stuff, that's when I started adding stuff. But the idea is to take like 10 stems, like have a couple of melodic ideas, don't even have a bass line, although I did print a neuro bass, but have a couple of musical ideas, have a kick, have a snare, and just create a basic beat, you know, like a hip hop beat or something. And then you go back and you start thinking about polyrhythm, and then you start, essentially you're working in audio. It's a lot easier to do, but you print everything to audio, and then you just kind of come in and start thinking about, okay, well, how can I think I usually do it centered around the drums, but then you just kind of get into the same idea because it's the same riff, like it's still pushing forward into the tune, but there's just some moments here that you break. And then what you do is like once you kind of like start doing this stuff, then you take a little bit of this and you cut a little bit here and you cut a little bit here and you cut a little bit here, and then you play with different pitching and stuff. But that's pretty much how IDM, or how this tune was made. I did it from scratch. So what was this snare? I think this snare was just a clap that I shortened. I didn't do much to it. Wait, what did I do to it? Okay, I did do some stuff. I frequency shifted it, added a bit crusher, added a vocoder, and then EQ'd it. So, but yeah, this was kind of like one of those like lucky instances where like I started something and I ended up liking it and wanted to take it further. So that's kind of how that worked out, which almost never happens anymore. But you know, I'll take it and ride the creative flow as long as I can. Oh, right, that's what I was doing. I was like, I was working on something and I forgot. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I just like drum breaks. Like, if you ever hear me beatbox, like that's really all it is I'm just like, and I'm like, how do I make that happen and from here to here? And I think that like that's one thing that I get is just drum rhythms. That's like the one thing, yeah, now that I think about it, like drums are like the one thing that I can hear in my head and be like, okay, I know how to do that. And that's so like rudimentary, but you know, some people have like a vivid imagination with melodies and stuff and chord progressions and all that. But for me, audiating like drum stuff is usually what I'm most successful at. And it's not 100% successful, but I usually have more success with that than anything else. This might be loud. It was loud. I'm glad I'm not the only one that works out fills and beatbox. Bro, like, dog. That's like all I do. And like when I'm not making music, that's how I make music, is I'm just like, yeah, it's fucking fun. And I'm not an amazing beatboxer, but like when I think of rhythm in that way, then I'm usually, it keeps things exciting and keeps things fun to do. We definitely need a tool to turn that shit down. Okay, it's almost there. We need a Pro Q on that because I kind of want that to be, I like the wideness of it, but probably around 12K. I'm gonna dip those mids. That, but I don't want all the other stuff that goes with it. Although I do like the spaces that are in that, but this kind of has a lot of transients in it, so it doesn't really work for the tune. So maybe what I can do is maybe what I can also do, except I can't fully put that out in the DAW yet. Good job. It's like I said, it's not rain. It's not perfect, but if you think about, if you kind of like split it up, then it helps a lot, right? So as opposed to like just think about like the percussive part, right? So, and then you can add like the kicks and snares to it. So like breaking it down as opposed to like trying to do the whole loop in one go. Fuck, man. right here. I'm going to extendo clip this. Oops. Yeah. Save and work on a copy. That's a feature Bitwig needs. Version control like Git. File. Save as. What do you mean? You can save copies. I'm an expert at destroying your own productions. Oh, right. Save a copy. You must be from Ableton. Right. It's the same thing. Save as is the same thing as saving a copy. You know what? You know what you should do though, is make sure that you don't misplace your ASD files. Okay, I'm going to see what happens if I give a space right there. Because the only reason why I say that is because I've lost so many fucking projects to losing ASD files. Okay, I think right there, maybe what would be better is if I just highlight that version control on an individual component field would be great in any DAW. Okay, where is that phrase? Oh, here it is. So we can just use that, and let's see what that does. Okay, that wasn't enough, so we'll probably also use one of these bad boys. And then maybe use a kick with that, because that kind of seems... Okay, I like that. But we're going to use one of these to kind of help with that moment. It's all about the moment. Oh yeah, fun times. My noobness has me constantly hating and liking my patches again. The reason why you hate your patches is because the context... Okay, two reasons. Either A, it doesn't fit the context that you initially had planned in your head, or B, it has you have no context at all with it. And so my trick to figuring that shit out is really to just like take a sound that you think that you like and export it. And instead of trying to make a bass line with it or trying to do something like that, just listen to the sound and imagine in your head different use cases or different scenarios in which it might sound cool, as opposed to, you know, Well, it depends on the genre that you're doing too, but for me, like the hardest thing to overcome was figuring out how to use these sounds. Sorry, hold on. All this stuff. And the worst advice, or like maybe not the worst advice because it might work for you, but the hardest thing for me was being like, all right, I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna cut this shit up and use all the different parts that I like and XYZ and it's gonna be great. No. Don't do that shit. Don't do that, because it's like the fastest track to hating the sound and like leading you to Cheeseville. So instead, make these sounds and stuff, but focus on building like a strong groove, and then let those small contextual sound design highlights be used in fills or key moments of the rhythm. That's something that Copycat taught me and I didn't really understand until as of late. But the other thing that I started doing too is, instead of trying to do all these like quick cuts and hits and shit, is if I'm gonna have a phrase, then I'll have a big ass kick and then I'll leave tons of space for the phrase to fill out. So if it's like a boom, like nothing else is going on at that time. Like, or there might be some kind of thing that's like leading into the next beat or something, but if you're really trying to make those sounds as big as possible, then you really need to like not like super layer it or whatever, and just be, and also like really think about making your tunes as full, or sorry, your sound as full frequency as possible. Because if it's just kind of like a mid bass or whatever, it's not going to be strong enough to stand on its own. So like the first key to it is like three takeaways from that. One, don't try to make a whole tune around it because it's going to be fucking boring as shit. Two, try to place it within the rhythm, or try to focus on placing it in key points as opposed to like making it the whole focus. And three, if it is going to be a moment, then try to make that sound as full as possible, and like don't let other sounds interfere with it. So, you know, and sometimes like it's not just the frequency spectrum, sometimes it's also space. So for me, one thing that I do in almost every patch that I have is I actually have reverb, like a small bit, or at least moments of reverb on this bass, so it goes from open to close. That's why you get that. And that was just something that I kind of like, I started picking up on, and then I started figuring out how to do that. And Faceplant, of course, makes it easy as hell to do that shit. But automating reverb on that, man, is money. Would make a monster comping display. Wait, wonder if Bitwig could make track version control by placing every channel change on its own comping lane. I don't even understand what you mean, to be honest. Wait, if Bitwig could make a track version, it could make track version control by placing every channel change in its own comping lane? Make a monster comping display, maybe just toggle the channel bases like automation lanes? Oh yeah, that has, Bitwig has that. This little thing right here. So like, let's just say I've got this full phrase, right? So right now this is I'm gonna duplicate this, but this is what's it called? This is just a sound design jam, so it's not like a riff. And that's what I was talking about too, is like trying to, I guess that's one way that you can do it, is like you can make a riff and then make it change over time and stuff. But I don't really like making music like that, just because it never works for me. But you know, there's a bunch of abstract shit in this, but you go, you're right, I need to experiment with effects automation more. Your reverb examples sound nice. Thanks. Just refer to the Faceplant patches. And I've got some of those generators on the factory content. So so yeah, what you do is you go like this, you go right click, fold to takes. I don't know why it's not doing that, but whatever. If you double click and you go into this, then you'll see that you can highlight a particular section, and if you've got more takes, then you can just select it and replace right there. So that's the same thing that you're talking about. I usually do automated bit crushers or just gain. Well, that's not bad either. And in fact, I think that in a lot of cases, filtering, as opposed to filtering, automating the gain or doing a combination of both is better. But I don't, like, honestly, I don't do the automation shit if I don't have to. I'm so much more interested in doing modulation, just because when you get into doing bass design like this, like, there's too many things to control. Like, maybe having one master control or one master filter could be good, or a couple, but Like, I don't want to... Okay, let me put things into perspective. Let me find where this bass is. Kick 2, sampler, boosh. It's here somewhere. Is it in music? Complete, soundscape. Music MIDI? Maybe I deleted it. Oh, this is a... Okay. All right. It's fine. It's the same patch anyways, and I didn't do anything different to it. But if you look at like an MPE patch that I make, or like a multi-generator, or like whatever, a complex patch, I'm going to pull this one up because this is what I'm using, and this is a stock preset. Thanks to Kilohearts, they put out some factory content for me. But if you have Faceplant, go download the gratis 2nd year anniversary thing, and you have access to this sound. But imagine... Sorry. Okay, let me turn this down a bit. Okay, imagine automating this, all of these, all this shit, these, all of these by hand. No. Fuck that. No. That would take you a lifetime. That would take so long to do. So here's what you do instead. Here's how you fix this, which I'd never do, but it's always been in the back of my mind. And maybe if I do some more patches or something for Faceplant in the future, that's like, I'll do some that's a little bit less abstract. But instead of using what you do, okay, instead of using randomizers, what you do is you make an LFO and you make just a couple of these, and you wait and you find a piece of movement that you like. So you find this, and then what you do is you apply this to all of these things, or to a bunch of different things. And so instead of having to do individual automation, you have some of these that are working together, and then you have some that are doing something slightly different. So that way all of the movement is the same pattern every time, whereas this is just completely random. But fuck that, man. I'm not gonna do all this shit by hand. I don't have the time or the patience for it. Yeah, there's no way I would get stuff like that. Now, if you've got, like I said, if you have a master effect, so for example, right, like all of these in the same way are mapped to these three macros. So this controls the neuro filtering, this controls the pitch and generative stuff, and then this controls how fast it goes. So once you have something like that, then yeah, you can play around with the automation of that. But as far as like doing that from scratch by hand, like, nah, man, no, I'm not gonna do it. Well, maybe you will. You know who does do that? Cohen Sound. Cohen Sound does that, and those guys are fucking, that's why they're Cohen Sound. For me, I don't have the patience for it. I would much rather leave it up to chance and have fun putting it together than be like, oh man, all right, I'm going to take a shot in the dark and see if this filter is going to interact with this distortion, and hopefully this EQ boost that I'm doing is going to make it sound cool. Like, no, I'm just going to fucking put some shit together and see how it sounds, and then understand how that dynamic works. And then if I want to do something specific, I can kind of tackle it from there. But fuck that shit. Fuck that shit. Oh, also, hi Brandon. Sorry. think right there I wanted to, okay, so in this case, like here's where automation becomes necessary. So there's a very specific moment where I know exactly what I want to do. So in that case, I'm going to turn this filter on, excuse me, and then I'm going to start from here and then pull this up. And then from that point, I'm going to turn it off. So like that's a very specific use case, right? Maybe on this I'll throw an OTT on it as well. But excuse me? I think that instead of, I'm not going to go that low. Thanks to the insight, homie. Yeah, dude. And I'm just like trying to, I think for me, I'm just like, hey guys, this is what I ran into. Don't like save yourself some time, or try it, see what works for you. But this has been my experience, because that's my thing. I can't tell you what's right and what's wrong, but for me personally, that's why I came up with, how do I say this? Like, I didn't invent generators or anything, or you can hire 100 children from third world countries, each does one automation. No. I didn't invent generators, but I was the person that came up with like this type of patch where like you've got, oh, not that patch, but the type of patch where you've got both the neuro and the generative thing. And I think that it kind of happened by chance, and it was inspired by Frequent, but having the ability to do that within Faceplant was something that nobody's ever done before. And now that's really why I wanted to get some of those patches out, because I want to see a lot more people do it in ways that I don't. But think globally, act locally. I'm not even gonna touch that, to be honest. But because of that, because you have the ability to kind of throw all those things together, and because we've already put it in a bunch of people's hands, like you guys already have access to that, and you can kind of somewhat, I think that it'll be kind of hard to try to trace it back, but that's not to say that you won't be able to pull stuff from it. But that's what I hope people find, of being like, of seeing how useful generative music can actually, or generative sound can actually be. Because, and I've covered this in a bunch of tutorials, but it's not even just a matter of doing it with bass. Like I have a video where I did something with pads, and then I have something where I did something with bells and used the same kind of random processing on it and changed something from one thing to something that was like, kind of ethereal, that you would never expect to do, but like on a very dramatic level, as opposed to, oh look, it automates reverb. It's got to be like this thing that we always talk about, like the number one question that I always thought about whenever I was making bass was, how do I make it twist? And perhaps, actually definitely, I know that I've gone the excessive route with how much processing I put on my sounds and stuff, but that's part of what makes it my sound now. That's something like the excessiveness aspect of it, and granted it's becoming more refined and stuff, but I've developed a sound that is my signature sound out of that, and that's something that I'm personally proud of. And I'm not saying that like it's the coolest thing on the planet or whatever. Like I love it, and I'm enthusiastic about it, but at the same time, like really trying to close the gap.
Recording to logbook.
Yo, Jack, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. But really trying to close the gap of being like there's information out there on how to put a neurobase together. There's information out there on how to make the music and how to sound like the people that you want to do. But it has to be with a healthy mindset. It can't be, how do I just sound like these people? It's, how do I take that as inspiration and make it my own? And I've said that in a billion fucking videos, but it's about how to learn the process and learn from making the sound or learn from having access to those sounds and then making it your own. You're not trying to just learn the sound, because then you're not learning anything, you know? Um, how do I, it's like, going to a candy shop and being like, hey, you've got access to all these different flavors of candy, but you only pick one, and that's it. And that's like, that's the only thing that you do. That's kind of what it is. There's so many, like, whenever I'm teaching like movement or like martial arts or tricking or something, we have this term called umbrella skills. And what you're trying to cultivate when it comes to sound design, and like, this is honestly, guys, like, this is the secret to sound design. And again, I've said it a bunch of times, but I'm just kind of in the mood to speak about it. But the secret to sound design is to learn how one thing, usually an effect, interacts with another effect. And the reason why I don't stress about source sounds is because of samples. So you can get any sample, pretty much. Like, the sampling opportunities that we have, or the sampling technology that we have, is pretty astounding. So as opposed to being like, how do I make it from the synth? You can literally just be like, oh, I need a respace that sounds good. Go on Splice. From there, how do I process this? How do I manipulate this into a way that starts to make it transform? So you've given yourself a head start. And even then, even if you don't have the synthesizer that you want to purchase or whatever, you can still like take the aspect of processing, the aspect of how effects interact with each other in order to get the same result. So that's why I say, like, okay, yeah, like, Vital is great, Serum is great, Faceplant is great, but it really, guys, it's all about learning your tools and learning the effects. But anyways, the idea of umbrella skills is the fact that, like, when you learn from something, you're not just learning the thing. There's so much more that you can do. For example, like, how many different ways do you know how to use a phaser? How many different ways do we know how to use distortion, or do we know how to use compression, or do we know how to abuse EQ? Because typically EQ is just meant for cutting sounds, right? And like, typical old ways of processing would be like, you rarely want to boost, or if you're going to boost, be subtle with it and all that stuff. And now, I think that Skrillex made it super popular, but you saw him automating these EQs to create voice or vocal resonances. And then we're like, oh, well, now that we get that, we can use the EQ in another way. So we've learned a trick. We've learned another another use for the same tool. And then what you'll find is that a lot of the same effects, or a lot of different effects, can produce the same results. For example, like, you can make a comb filter sound very similar to a phaser and a flanger. Do you know why? It's because those are all comb filters. So even though they have different names and they have different resonances and maybe a different process about how they work, in essence, if you look at what is actually happening to the sound, it's all the same shit. And so really what you're doing is you're just building a web. And once you have the web of sound design, which is kind of full circling why I like Neurobase so much, is because once you have the web, then it becomes a lot easier to identify and to figure out what it is that you want to do. The way that you should treat sound design, what's a good Wave plugin? None of them. Don't buy anything from Waves. Jack, give me just 1 second. I'm going to read your comment out loud, but let me finish my rant. It's not really a rant, but it's like a passion speech. So here's how you have to learn sound design. There's no shortcut. You need to learn the vocabulary. That's the most important thing. The vocabulary and how to identify what you hear. It's the same thing that we do whenever we're growing up. What sound does a sheep make? Bah. We know that because you know what I mean? We've made that connection. We've identified that. And so now every time we hear a sheep, we're like, is that a sheep? Or when we're driving, moo. Oh, it's a cow. We're able to identify those sounds on a very simple level. Well, what we're doing is we're training our ears to become more nuanced, and we're building a vocabulary of identification of sounds or identification of movement. So once you have that, and once you're able to kind of be like, oh, that sounds like a phaser to me. Oh, and your ears will lie to you. They will lie to you. But at the same time, there's a lot of different effects that you can supplement in between. But even just being able to get to, thank you so much, OMG. I appreciate you following. But even just having that aspect of having a place, a reference point is what we call it, a starting point, that still teaches you something. That still teaches you a new possibility that you can expand from. And you don't have to go the same direction to get as close as you want. And I think that's one of the biggest traps that we all have, myself included, of being like, yo, it doesn't sound like the bass I'm going for. It doesn't sound like this. But take those alternate routes and fuck with sound and destroy it. That's the secret. That is the sauce right there. And if you can do that, you will, how do I say this? You will at least know what I know in sound design. So the good music artists are always able to elevate their music beyond just being music, a celestial place that not only unique to the art, but the way that their music actually sounds. Yeah, if you're just a singer songwriter, like I guess by nature everybody has a unique voice, but maybe there are some guitar players that play the exact same cover and can manipulate it in that way. You get inexpensive plugins, but if you update your DAW OS often, the update fees will creep up the price. Yes, and that's why I said F waves. Yeah, I do know that. Well, of course, animals have different languages and stuff, right? But what we're doing is still training ourselves to identify, right? It doesn't matter if it's a shit. I'm not bilingual or anything, so I'm not gonna embarrass myself and say something offensive. But it's the same way. Okay, yeah. So it's the same way that that we identify colors in Spanish, right? Green, verde, right? Blue is azul. White is blanca or blanco. So you know what I mean? But we're still referring to the same thing. No, it's whenever you update your software, they charge you for an update. So like if they release something new, you don't get to update it for free. If they come out with a patch for your software, like you have to spend money to update it. And that's why Waves is bullshit. And I usually don't talk like that about companies, but I am so against that model and the customer service that I received on that. I was really upset with it, long story short. And what really pissed me off whenever I was talking to those people is that as opposed to listening to the problem, they tried to divert it back into a sale. And that is like the biggest pet peeve that I have, and that's why I'm not very good at like sales in the first place, is because the only thing that they saw was fucking dollar signs from me, and I was just trying to get my plugin to work. I was like, I can't download the old version and just use that, and they're like, no, we released a new update. Or I don't remember what the details of it were, but I remember being really upset about it. So I would not recommend anything from Waves. Would not. You can go on Plugin Boutique and find the same, like not the same plugins, but like very similar plugins of good quality, whatever, for a cheaper price. So, yeah, it's Waves. I'm itching to try Faceplant Snap-in system, and since I don't want to switch to Bitwig or use Reactor to the program yet, what tier of Faceplant would you recommend? I would recommend spending $9, use my discount code, $9 for 1 month, and get the whole suite. That's what I would recommend, because even if you don't use all the stuff, even if, you know what I mean, like that's not like it's not for you for whatever reason, I think that if you get it, you're going to want it just because of how powerful it is. But I would do $10 and just a subscription, get everything, and then see if it's for you or not. And if not, wait, actually don't even buy anything. Just try the demo. Just do a 30-day demo and see, and put some time into it. Don't spend any money if they allow a demo. Yeah, so it's $10 a month. If you use my discount code, you get 10% off, which is $1. So like that's not a sale for me, but it is like a 10% discount. So if that's something that you're interested in, then you can definitely take me up on that. Or there's a couple of other people that are really awesome that also have discount codes. So whoever your favorite support or like whoever your favorite content creator is, give them $1. You can really find everything you need for free by now, but paid products do give a much wider range of tools. Yeah, I agree. I'm really big on effects. That's my thing. And that's why I haven't really as opposed to like wanting the next big thing, I think that really all I want is just for Faceplant to improve and for Bitwig to keep improving. because I have everything that I need. And a lot of people are like, I get this a lot too. They're like, why don't you use any other synth? Why don't you use this? I get that it's this, but to be honest, like now that I think about it, it's almost like telling me that, like, why do I play guitar? Why don't you try piano? You know, like you would never tell an artist that. And I'm not offended by it by any means, but I find that there's that relationship, right? Manipulator is still $150. Everyone read my last comment. I've wasted so much money because of this. Better off getting all the plugins you want, even if you need to save up. Otherwise, you'll accumulate stuff you won't use, then pony up for what you want later. Wait, what? Do you mean demo it? I'm confused. I'm going to go with demo it. I'd say demo everything until your demos expires. Don't just buy shit, even if it's on sale. Because, yeah, I've got a lot of plugins that I don't use for the same reason. Demo everything, because there's tons of stuff that I don't use anymore. Okay, I know what that's missing now. It needs a reverb hit. The cool thing about Bitwig's demo is that it never expires, and while it is kind of, this might be loud. Oh, that wasn't bad. Even though you can't export or anything, like you have access to all the features that it has to offer, and it doesn't expire. So like, you know, you don't have to worry about, you know, let's say you download it and then you start your free trial or whatever, and then you don't touch it for 6 months and you're like, oh man, I got to create a new account. You don't have to do that. CLA Epic is another one, but I've heard some issues on Mac and PC that make me hesitate. So I had CLA drums or something like that, and it did not work on the M1 Mac. And I was very upset about that. What? Okay. Let's try that instead. Okay, that's not bad, but not quite. It's a little more natural, but still not quite where I want it to be. Honestly, if you just want a vocoder, CLA Epic is another one, but I've had some... Oh, wait. If you're using Ableton Live, you can use a spectral resonator and pipe it MIDI. If you're using Ableton Live, why not just use the vocoder? And then use like an external or something. It's not as bad as I initially thought. I think like everybody hated Ableton's vocoder because it wasn't vocodex, and like vocodex is like the meta. Even to this day, like I love, well, Bitwig's is pretty damn good. It's still not vocodex though. It's something entirely different. Buy what you want. Don't cheap out on plugins. Oh, okay. I get what you're saying. You're saying don't get like knockoffs or cheaper things that's supposed to be like the same thing. Just get the plugins that you know that you want. I have vocal synth from Isotope, but need better robot voices and stuff. Great tool like spectral resonator because you can do some funny stuff with it. Yeah, I think that it's not really so much. So, okay, so the thing about vocal synth is that it is a vocoder, but it has oscillators in it. and that's what makes it sound the way that it does. So really, it's a matter of using the right external source in order to get the sounds that you want out of it. But a vocoder is a vocoder, and the way that it does is what it does is breaks everything into little band passes, and that's why it sounds kind of watery if you have it like too low or whatever. But messing with like the band's amount and also the bandwidth and stuff will get you to that effect that you're looking for. But yeah, like I don't know if you guys watch this or not, but I just put out a video that was like how to vocoding a neurobass with another neurobass, and that's part of the reason why I love Bitwig so much, is because it has MIDI through. What you can do is I think this is a sub. Yeah, okay. So just pretend like this is a neurobass or whatever. But what you can do is, instead of having brown noise on here, you can delete both of these and then go plus and then go to instruments and then and then just put this on here, which is fucking nuts. It's CPU heavy too. I just need robos, man. Well, then you want to look into like comb filters, like a comb filter type of oscillator, or have an external that has like a comb filter on it, because that's what's going to help you get the robo voices. But let's say, like, hold on one sec. Hello? 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 Rain, I hate you sometimes. If I had a fucking nickel for every time my brother butt dials me. Dick. What was I talking about? Yeah, you could just pull up another neurobass or whatever. I don't even care, whatever. Let's do this one. And you can literally use this, another synth on the same thing, to vocode your source sound. And then you've also got like an individual band pass right here. So if you take a listen to this, wait, what is this without it? It's just, let's do a higher note. Let's do like a, right? And then you put on the vocoder. And then like suddenly like you can vocode anything with anything. Which is pretty awesome. So that's my thing. That's what makes Bitwig's vocoder stand out. And it's not even so much the vocoder itself, it's the fact that you have MIDI through. So you can essentially, you know, do anything on anything. But yeah, that's my thing. I've found a ton, speaking of like a multi-useful tool, like I've found so many uses lately for the vocoder. Like I find myself putting a vocoder on almost every track now. Not every track, but a lot of tracks. It's not the same though. Like MIDI control is where you can play keys like through the effect, but it's not the same as putting a synth on the same thing, right? Which, if vocal synth, I have vocal synth. Do I have it downloaded though? I don't think I do. No, I've got Nectar too, but I don't have vocal synth downloaded. But yeah, I don't know. I don't particularly like vocal synth anyways. But if you've got like a voice or something, let's just go like find the cheesiest thing that we can. Oh. Oh my god. Okay. So before you even touch a vocoder, get familiar with the delay. So that's like, that's like one really easy way. And then if you stack these, then you can start to see that you kind of make that robotic in that way. You can also try to bit crush it. See what that does. I'm going to use Byte. I like Byte. It's pretty cool. So when you combine that, maybe some crunch. Let's do 8 bits. And then if you make that, God, this is already annoying as hell. And then if you do maybe some comb filtering, let's do this one. And you slowly automate this over time. Then there's just like, there's a lot of shit that you can do. But yeah, as far as like an actual synth or something goes, like I would just do something with a lot of those key characteristics. Like metal is usually categorized by comb filtering and short delays. You can also do sync in certain cases, but I think that like the easiest way to get just kind of like that really harsh, bright sound is usually through those kinds of tonalities. But you know, that's kind of just one of those things. But I mean, if you're thinking about like, you know, actual like robot voices that have like, I'm thinking of like, what's that one tune from Datsik? Wah, 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 wah. Wah, 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 wah. All systems ready. Like that's not a vocoder. That's something entirely different. That's actually just like a I don't actually know what that would be categorized as. But yeah, now I'm kind of curious as to, let me do some research on that. And I'll look up some other cool and interesting ways, and then I'll put my take on it. Alright, I need to rename this guitar. And we need to throw this into the music. You have to listen to the music in your heart. And then we're going to do a nice, easy sidechain on this. All to the kick. Kick. Oh, wait. It's a sidechain. Drums, audio 1, post. What is this? Okay. I'm just going to group these together and compress these as one. Comper. Compe. Compressor. Oh, yeah, why don't I just fucking use that? I'm tripping. Good. Good. I think this is my favorite track that you made on stream. Thanks. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do is expose myself, because there's this fucking sound in this track that I always sample from. But we're not going to tell anybody, are we? Are we? Are we? No. Are we? Okay, we want this, and I just need to find this sound right here. That one. Raw. Before I get copyrighted, I better just take this one. I Okay. Yeah. This sound, I don't know. It's always been one of those sounds that's just like, man, I love that little. Okay. So now we can use one of these, one of those. And we'll pull that into sidechain. Pull that into somewhere. I think I'm going to place this first, though. There it is. It makes it stand out on its own. It's hidden behind all the other sounds, but I really don't want the lo lo lo. But when it's played with all the other stuff, you can't really hear that. At least I don't think you can. At least not through my speakers. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Does anybody have any questions on anything? I think that the tutorial aspect is 5:52, 7:12. It's like a minute 30. So what I could also do is come into this and and then for my next trick, the vocoder trick we were talking about. Let's find a bass. That's something that sounds good. Pretty good. That'll work. Okay, I'm actually going to layer this and see if I can find one that's more machine-like. Or get some machine hits out of this. Alright, cool. And then we'll just take out the low. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. Did I stack bases on the hats? No. So why are we getting bass sounds? Huh? Yeah, that must be a bug because unless yeah, that's a bug. Because that's still playing when this is soloed. I was like, what the fuck? My face froze. You better be calling me and not butt dialing me. Hello? 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 You fucking asshole. Brother sucks. Fucking dick. Okay. Hey Lex, what's up? Is this working properly? Oh fuck. I think it is. Maybe. Yeah, okay. It looks all weird on my phone. I just heard hello. Oh, yeah, my brother keeps fucking butt dialing me. And he wonders why I don't want to answer the phone. Oh, did I turn that EQ back on? I did, okay. What? Is this not? Oh, that's because... Why is this going to pork mouth? Okay, that makes more sense. I was like, what the fuck? That's not right. It needs to go to Boosh Master. Here we go. Okay, I was like, what the hell? A little too much. Like a yeah, so right there I really want some kind of moment of like a roar, for lack of better description, but I want to see if I can find something interesting. That's kind of cool. I like that. That's a candidate for sure. That's cool. It's close. It's not quite. I want to see if I can do this without filtering, but we'll see. That sounds okay. I said I wasn't gonna do this. I really don't feel like filtering this whole fucking thing, so I might just bounce this to a new track and see what that sounds like, but yeah, it doesn't make that big of a difference. Not worried about it. Not worried about it. Okay, well, this is the dub plate. Does anybody have any questions on anything? Maybe one more sound. Yeah, that sounds kind of cool. Yeah, I like it. But one thing I do want to... Okay, so when the cello comes in, I also want another one. So maybe what I could do is... I actually think that all of these sound better in that pitch, but whatever, that's fine. Yeah, I butchered the mix, but I made it really loud, which is great, because who needs a fresh mix when it's loud? I didn't really butcher the mix. I just pushed the limiter too hard, but it's not too bad. Yeah. Does anybody have anything else that they want to add, or anything else that they, would like to see while I'm still doing the stream? Because when the tutorial comes up, like I said, I'm not really going to talk about any of the sound design. It's going to be just like, here's what I did, here's what I added, here's how I made a couple of cuts. But in 10 minutes, I'm going to attempt to explain how I made this. Into feel like I should switch the last two phrases around, but I did that because because that phrase is there. I might take the guitar out, I'm not sure. I really like it, but I don't know how to mix it in a way that makes sense yet, because right now it's just kind of in the background and like faded out, and that's kind of like a cheat sheet because I can't get I didn't get a great recording anyways. But just goes to show that you really need, it's not even the mic that you have, it's your environment. But I've got so much noise going on in the background that no matter what I do, that fucking microphone catches it. And dogs snoring and barking and things. La 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 la. Yeah. Anybody got anything? Alright. Cool then. Well, right on. Thank you all for being here. This VOD and the VOD from earlier will be available to all members of the YouTube Legion. Otherwise, if you kind of want to refresh on this about how it was made, you can just refer to the YouTube vid that I will be making in the next few days. But yeah, I really just, it's going to be short. It's not going to be anything like super amazing, but like I said, you'll get more out of the stream than you would out of the tutorial. But it's going to be like, hey guys, this is how I took this and went to this. But I was just chilling, eating dinner. Hi Travesty, how are you? Yeah, let's do another listen through if you guys like the tune. Thank you for hanging out and enjoying the tune with me. I like this. I like the beat a lot. So it's nice to kind of like come back to this every once in a while, because right now I'm really into the storytelling, super off-grid, making shit as heavy as possible. But this was kind of fun just to take like a really simple musical idea and then create a larger idea out of it. So yeah. Is this 16 bars though? 552. Wait, I think I almost feel like I need another phrase. How many bars is this? No, 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 no. Oh, not that. How many bars is this? 177 to 192 or 193. I wish it would tell me like how. Oh, yeah, okay. 16 bars. 16 bars. Why does it. There's something there that feels like this is like just picking up right here on this last thing. So maybe what I'll do is just like do some wizard fuckery or something. And I say that, but I'll try to do something cool because it really sounds like this is where the tune wants to pick up for just a hot sec. And then I pull it away. And I realize that, but I don't know why. Yeah, maybe having just another like riser or something to kind of mitigate that could be helpful, but it seems like there wants to be more after that. I guess something that I could do too is play everything clean, but that's kind of cliche and kind of boring. I don't know. At the very least, I was able to practice what I preached, but do you guys remember when we had the talk about beat block? So, and by no means, please don't take this as bragging or anything, but this is a good example about what I meant of like, hey, let's say like you really like an idea or whatever, and you run out of ideas for it. I'm not out of ideas for it quite yet, but you're, let's say like you're running thin, or let's say like you don't want to do anything else to this. Well, what you can do is write an intro, which I wrote a 1-bar intro, then voice your main section and your main idea, and then find a way to get out of it. And the reason why I like this is because it loops in a way that makes it seem like it is kind of cyclic. But rather than going back into the same beat and making somebody like listen to it again, it's kind of their prerogative to want to play it on repeat. And I like that so much more. So as opposed to, forcing somebody to listen to more of the tune if there's not anything else, because I always find that like when you force yourself to make another idea, it's, for me personally, it's never as good as my first idea. You know what I mean? At least that's my experience. But if you can get into a situation to where like you just make your main idea like cool as fuck and you make it 32 bars or however long you want it to be, then you find a way to get in and get out of it. Well, you've essentially got a beginning, a middle, and end. And it doesn't need to be like the most narrative thing, but I mean, hell, this is 5:49 to 7:12, so that's like it's like a minute 30 ish. But the idea stays interesting throughout. At least to me it does. I don't feel like the idea needs to go somewhere else. I was like, oh, I really enjoyed that experience, and if anything I would want to listen to it again. So I kind of like doing these like short passages like that. And you could always come back to it and say like, hey, I've got another idea for this. Like I still have another idea for this, but I don't it's not quite like hitting me yet, but I did want to go into something that was more like pull the music stuff away and then go into something that's more like bass focused or like more abstract and all that. But then I'm like, I don't really know if that's going to fit the tune. So there's kind of all those things to consider, but it could be worth a try if I feel like revisiting this. But even still, within two sessions, because I started this earlier, which was about 7 hours or so, like I got the main point and the main key done and all the sound design and a rough mix and a rough master and all that. So That's really what I'm more concerned about, is just we're still making music. The tune isn't done, it's super rough, but I've made something that I'm happy with, and that's kind of one of those key roadblocks that a lot of people run into, is they'll make something like this, but they won't have this part and they won't have this part, and then they're like, ah man, I don't know what to do with the rest of the song. And it's like, you don't have to do anything, just make an intro and find a way to get out of it and leave it as is. I'm really over the idea that songs need to be like fucking 6-7 minutes. Even 4 minutes is a lot. It's a long time and it's a lot of work. I would always much rather make an idea as interesting as possible than try to make someone drag on to the end of the song. But the other thing too is that like this tune is a little bit more accessible, I would say, compared to the other stuff that I make. So, if I ever wanted to pitch this to a DJ or something and I'm like, hey, would you mind playing this out? They can play the whole tune. They can play the whole minute and 30, or play most of it anyways. Like maybe not the intro, maybe not the outro, but the main section loops, so they can either just make that go for another 64 bars or put their own spin on glitching it out or something. But I just like that there's a matter of versatility through your music. It doesn't have to be like so shoehorned into one thing, and that's something that I've been trying to just kind of keep in mind about becoming more free within music. Hopefully that makes sense to you all, and I kind of just wanted to leave you with some insight about what goes into my thought process whenever I'm making tunes, and give you like the big tutorial version. I explained quite a bit, but I didn't really like notate every single decision. But I think that you can get the gist of like, here are the main points of create a few layers. So write some musical things that you like that kind of go well together. Write an 8-bar loop. And then what you want to do is duplicate that 8-bar loop and then start adding stuff to it in order to start, incorporating more texture or more moments that create a dynamic conversation, as opposed to just this. Because while this is nice and easy to listen to, the most dynamic thing that you have here are the hat patterns, but they repeat, and so you anticipate it and you familiarize with yourself with it a little bit too soon. And I say you as in me, like I'm already bored of it after I hear this maybe like 2 times. At this point, I already want it to pick up. I already want it to be like, which that would actually be cool. I should have thought about doing a garage version of that, because that would be really, really sweet. But yeah, like after that, I'm already bored. I'm like already expecting something else to come. So whenever you for me, part of the reason why I like IDM is you have the ability to take the same idea, the same motif, and then re-express it in a lot of different ways, or say the same words or say the same thing, but just with a different it's not tone, because I think that's too confusing, but with the different just with a different expression, or a same expression, but each one is unique. How would you say that? It's like, if I wanted to say it's not what you say but how you say it, like it's the same expression but the intent changes, I think is the best way that I can say that. Yeah. It's like somebody asks you a question and you explain it to them, and then you're like, I still don't understand. Can you explain it again? But then you explain the same shit, but you explain it differently, and that's kind of like IDM in a nutshell. Or it can be. That can be IDM in a nutshell, anyways. So, yeah, I had a great time making this. I hope that you guys had just as much fun as I did. But since there's no questions and chat's kind of dunzo, I think that I'm going to also be dunzo. So much love to you guys. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your evening. Consider becoming a member. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed, and expect the tutorial in the next few days or so, probably tomorrow. Much love, guys. I will see you later. I'm going to play some SO. Actually, I'm going to work out, then I'm going to cook, and then I'm going to play